barely 2 weeks after the grappling with what has become more or less a lucrative criminal venture that continues to attract young Nigerians in a country where unemployment remains a challenge.
Now, what started in the Niger Delta region as a weapon engaged by aggrieved militants in expression of their anger quickly embraced a commercial slant and enhanced its spread to other parts of the country. Now, kidnapping is now a major security threat in the country as no one is spared.
Now, the rich and the influential, poor, old and young, male or female, and even children have all been victims. Now, while high-profile cases get extensive publicity from the media, many of the kidnap cases get resolved without the public knowing, as they are not reported in the media.
Now, let's give you more insight. Since 2010, Nigeria has consistently fallen within the top 10 countries in the world with more than 1,000 kidnap cases, and that's according to the Overseas Security Advisory Council records.
Now, in Nigeria, victims are most often taken for ransom. Now, family members who are contacted by the kidnappers are told not to report the case to the police, and many times they comply for fear of losing their loved ones. Now, some states in Nigeria have signed the anti-kidnapping bill into law by prescribing the death penalty for convicted kidnappers.
States like Edo, Lagos, Oyo, Cross River all fall under this category. Well, while the Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa assented to an amended bill seeking life imprisonment for convicted kidnappers in the state instead of the death penalty. In May this year, the Senate resolved to enact a bill that would make provisions for death penalty as the punishment for convicted kidnappers.
Now, the resolution followed the adoption of a report by the Joint Committee on Police Affairs and National Security and Intelligence, presented by its chairman, Senator Abu Ibrahim. But many Nigerians have argued that enacting stricter penalties for kidnapping has not yielded the necessary results, since no suspect has been prosecuted, convicted and executed in the country.
With us in the studio is a security analyst, Kelechi Obiakwata, to talk more about this. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the last slide we gave. Yes, there are laws in place. Even stiffer laws have been put in place by some states, but yet, like we said, no kidnap suspect has been convicted or prosecuted, let alone sentenced to either death sentence as the capital punishment or even life imprisonment.
Well, you will attribute that to weakness in our legal system, or what they call the prosecution system arising from the Nigerian police force. Because before these cases are taken to the courts, they must be investigated. And investigating officers are police. They must investigate, prepare the case file, and of course, bring it to the court where the lawyers meet to argue the cases. In most cases, the lawyers throw away these cases because they lack merit. And this lack of merit arises from the fact that proper investigations were not carried out. And that shows a lot of weakness on the part of police. And it goes back to training. Our Nigerian police force, how trained are they? Especially in the modern trends that we have. I know when police started in Nigeria, kidnapping was very strange. I don't know about their curricula today, what they have improved to take care of the modern crimes and the influence of these crimes. So I want to recommend or suggest from here that Nigerian police should go back. If an IPO, for somebody to be given a case to handle, he must be an expert in investigation. And that is to say, he must have gone on a training, special training for investigation, so that when there is a case is assigned to him, he'll be able to know how to investigate this case and build a case file that is impeccable. There is no lawyer that can throw it away, because it's coming from a professional, person.
Investigator.
So that's part of the issue, because you all know about the cases of fraud that go through EFCC, and when they come to court, we have 110 count charges, and only 1 or 2 will be sustained. All of them will be thrown away. Why that waste of time? Why would you trump 100 and something charges to court and everything is thrown away? It's a waste of time. Or somebody is somewhere doing something it's not supposed to do. That leads to another aspect of the challenge we have in this country, corruption. It has eaten into the fabric of this nation that, greed and all manner of, things have, cropped into the system that people don't do their job professionally. They just do it so that people will say, oh, we've done it. But in essence, you did nothing.
Okay, now, a lot of people have said that the laws that were supposed to serve as deterrent are actually not performing the role of serving as deterrent.
Yeah,
now, if these laws are not deterrent as to the death penalty, as the case may be, then how do we handle
I just told you the problem is not with the law. The law is there, there's a blindfold to the law and a balance. It doesn't respect anybody, and it's equitable. Are you with me? So it's not looking at anybody. But once you present your case, show proper evidence and order, the law will take its course. The laws are good. It's not about the law. It's about prosecution. It's what you bring, because even the judges, the judges are having hard time because they can see a good case, but it's not properly evidenced. And it is coming from prosecution.
All right.
What do you do if you are a judge and this man stole? Of course, the police come with the evidence to the court, and the evidence is not properly presented according to the tenets of the legal system. You may not give judgment in favor of the other party. Do you understand? Because it has not met the standard of the law. So it's this prosecution process that needs to be looked into. And a lot goes into that. It's either inexperience, it's either lack of training, it's also maybe as a result of corruption. So these are the things that may go into that.
Let's just look at the police now.
Okay.
Yes, because they are the ones, like you said, the ones that have the burden of proving a suspect is guilty before being effectively prosecuted in court. So, but the police of today, the Nigeria police force, seems to have so many challenges. You already said one, but then do they even have modern day gadgets? Because we know this is a new trend of crime, like you said. Do they have modern day gadgets? When you hear of high-profile cases being cracked in the country, at the end of it, you hear that it's always the crack team or the Inspector General of Police coming from Abuja to the various states, led by Kyari to crack the case. So do the Nigerian people need to depend on the IGP team to solve cases? Do you think that the police is overwhelmed somehow? And they don't have, of course, they already said they don't have enough funds anyway, but are they overwhelmed in terms of manpower?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. You see, those kind of measures being taken by IGP is just emergency measures. They don't solve the critical problems. I can tell you. What the Nigerian police needs is modernization. We have to look at what happens elsewhere and begin to modernize our police in terms of training and in terms of priority, specializing. They have to be specialists in certain areas. Every police should not do everything. And every policeman should not do everything. Some may be good for the roads, some may be good for the courts, and some may be good for the streets investigation, some may be good for, undercover, as the case may be. So they need to train them. Training is the starting point of modernizing Nigerian police. After that, then they look at, well, I borrow this word, unbundling. Unbundling of the Nigerian police, so that you can have specialisms. And again, Nigerian police may not solve all the security problems in this country. Let's accept that fact. There are other security professionals in this country that need to be integrated into the pursuit of security freedom in this country. You have the industrial security people, the body called ASIS. It's an international body, but they are here. There are people who have been trained in investigation. They know how to investigate matter and give you a report, and that report is impeccable. They also know how to mount physical security and all that. They also know how to, prosecute in that case. So Nigerian police needs training, and they need to unbundle them. People need to specialize. If you are going to be an IPO in Nigerian police, you should have done your investigation course and obtain a professional certificate so that you speak from authority, so that when you are given a matter, you treat it professionally. And at the end of the day, there'll be no issue.
Yeah. Let's look at it from another perspective. The police itself, the problem of the police, one would say, is even caused from outside the police. Before the police is capable, is trained, they have to be funded. And that comes from government. Now, in this case where kidnapping is given Nigeria a very bad name outside there, people are traveling to Nigeria, they're saying, okay, beware because there's going to be kidnapping and all of that. They paint all sort of picture. Now, what is government actually not doing right if we have to, break it down to the specifics?
Yeah, the truth of the fact is that all being said and done, Nigerian police cannot do very well, just like you say, without adequate funding. It is very important because, and also taking care of their welfare. Because the fact remains that part of the reason some police officers go to the street is because they are hungry. You can see it and they are very bold about it. But like I said, if they are professionally trained and patterned in such a way that they have roles to play and they are properly funded, properly equipped, and all these also go back to training because you don't bring equipment without telling people, teaching people how to use it. Because part of it is that some equipment has also been procured that were not properly used. They were damaged because people who use them did not know what to do with them. So all these go together. It's an integrated process, funding, equipment, training, and of course taking care of their welfare. There has to be dignity of labor. Nigerian police need to be taken care of. And it's not something they would do, all at once. It has to be an unbalanced kind of development. They start from somewhere, and start getting it right gradually. They can start from the ones, maybe from Abuja, Lagos State, the, stormy states. Take care of them, improve the police there. Then they go to other states gradually, be able to have a very powerful and formidable Nigerian police. But funding is key.
All right, the Nigeria police just launched Operation Total Sanity, or Absolute Sanity, along the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria Expressway, because that particular highway is like the hub of kidnapping in Nigeria at the moment. There will be air surveillance of the police, and of course joint military police efforts had been on ground before this Operation Absolute Sanity. But then when you look at all this, just to man one highway in Nigeria. Yeah,
you may ask what of other
highways.
And if you solve the problem there, what happens at other places?
Who even
the officers that were taken out from there, where did they send them to? These are, like I said, this just emergency measure. They don't solve the problem, because after there we'll have another one. Badu is in Lagos today, Boko Haram the other side, Niger Delta. This is something the government, the security forces need to sit down and review very, very well. It's not all these, panic measures would not give us any solution. Instead, it will be giving opportunities, because those officers that were transferred from those areas have gone to somewhere. Exactly. They will tell their boys how the ground is in the places they are.
After saying that they were not competent enough.
They will transfer to the other side and continue what they are doing. So there is need to be integrated measure to solve the Nigerian security problem. And it's not about police alone, military, Air Force, civil societies should also be involved. The private guys should be involved, and vigilantes should be involved. Community leaders, market women, traders, neighborhood watch groups should be involved with. There should be, in fact, it should be a concerted effort, so that at the end of the day we'll see solution to these problems.
Okay, now we know that the past, for every year that passes, things seem to be deteriorating with the reports we hear from across the country and all of that. But how did we get here? How did things get so bad?
It's obvious. There have been decadence in the society called Nigeria. Moral decadence, corruption, unemployment. And the burn of this is really unemployment, because you see, the Nigerian population has a high rate of youth population. MBS, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, gave recent about 90 million youth, about 56% of the population. They are not employed. And you know, there's this saying that says, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. In every crime committed in this country today, it's done by youths. I mean, you have rare cases of people over 60 or 70 into this. It's from 20, even under 20 to 40-something years that are committing this crime. That's a high level of unemployment. Our educational system has not also helped. Are you with me? Okay. People are churned out every year. Thousands of students are churned out every year without quality. So
there are so many issues affecting the country at the moment. Let's bring in Foladele Falana at this point to tell us what the people are saying online. Good morning to you, Foladele.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Aziza. Good morning, Kelechi.
Good morning, my dear.
All right, so let's find out what Nigerians are saying online about the sad rate of kidnapping lately in this time. Hands of Time says, breaking news in Nigeria on a daily: rape, kidnapping, murder, terrorism, corruption, missing persons, abuse of power. Igbo Maid says, I'm of the view that kidnapping in Nigeria is not receiving the serious and urgent attention it deserves. We're all at risk. Mr. Man says, it severely worries me how rife kidnapping has become in Nigeria. How can you claim to have a functional state with such terrible security? Adebayo says, Nigeria police are making kidnapping and collecting the ransom look so easy. So the question is, do they pay these kidnappers in cash? Ms. Kazola says, there are unreported low-key kidnappings still going on in Nigeria. These criminals still kidnap for a ransom of 500K, 700K, and 1 million. Stay safe. Really quickly, Kelechi, what advice do you have for we Nigerians on our own on how to stay safe in this
Personal security. We have to be conscious and at alert. We have to change our attitude, street attitude, house attitude, office attitude.
School attitude?
School attitude, wherever you are. Because as a consultant, security consultant, when I walk the street and see a single lady alone in an open street, carrying a handbag, walking leisurely, I'm usually scared for her. Or a young man in the same, because anybody can drive across, stop, push into the vehicle and drive off. Then we also need, in addition to, the general policing, we need what may be called private policing. Our streets, our markets, our schools, no place should be without, a watch out or a group of people watching out for security. But you discover that everywhere is porous. There's nobody watching for anybody. We only get to call police as a remedial measure. Everywhere is porous. So if we go into these measures, one, personally, self-consciousness that, look, I'm not safe. So you have to, when you're walking on the street, you have to walk like even a kidnapper, so that nobody can stop you and touch you. You have to know that you don't have to carry a bag, maybe you don't have anything there, and you walk freely on the street. It's not necessary.
Just be safety
So we need
conscious.
to be very, security conscious and at alert. People who go to work every morning, you don't need to come out at the same time in the same place every day. Because already, if somebody is monitoring you, the person is sure that by 5:30 a.m., you are there, come rain, come shine, okay? So you need to vary your timing, okay? Even in our homes, we need to teach our children about being security conscious. It's not everybody that is an uncle, that is a relation that is close. So even this idea of calling everybody that is close to the family an uncle is wrong.
Okay.
Because it brings, it brings a feeling of closeness.
It just tells how
teach your
how
children who is who. Mr. Kelechi, Mr. John, Mr. This. Let them call them by their names and distinguish between the real family members and just people. Because these are the things that bring familiarity, and children feel that somebody is close to the family while
this is definitely a bigger discussion.
It says that the person is not close.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much. It just
much.
tells how bad things have really become now, because we remember growing up, the world was a communal setting where everybody knows. It was really
like a close-knit family sort of arrangement.
It's all right. Kelechi Obiakwata, security consultant. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.